What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. I hope you guys have all had a great Friday. I hope you guys are gearing up for a great weekend, and I hope you guys are ready for another live 2023 fantasy football mock draft. Tonight we are hopping into a 12-team full PPR mock for the 2023 fantasy football season. So you guys know what to do, man. Hit that like button on the way in. If you guys are new to the channel, thank you for being here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on the way in. All we do here is free fantasy football content all year round, redraft, dynasty, and best ball. So if you're into that, thank you for being here, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. On top of that, most importantly, hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping. Let me know how you guys are doing. Any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over tonight, I am more than happy to hop into. So I'm sending out one last warning on Discord. Mock is starting, and then we are kicking this bad boy off. And there we go. Fancy sleeper noises. Mock is underway. Walito, you're on the clock. And Justin Jefferson, no surprise there, off the board at the 1.1. We've got green dots across the board. Let's go, let's go. Excited as ever to be here with you guys. So, not really anything in terms of NFL news that we need to touch on. I mean, there's like now a loose report coming out that Dalvin Cook could head to the Patriots. We've got, Tyreek Hill still under investigation, which we touched on yesterday. There's, Dalvin Cook retweeting things about the Jets. I mean, et cetera, et cetera. It's just off-season banter. That's all we've got to deal with. So we'll try and throw together some fantasy football conversations for the night, and we'll go from there. So let me make this draft selection coming up in under 20 seconds. And then we'll kind of, just evaluate round by round kind of what's going on, what the tendencies are for the night. Got an interesting little draft starting here. I'm going Bijan all day long at the 1.6. If he's there, I do not care what anyone thinks about it. I will take Bijan at the 1.3 or the 1.4 if I feel like it. I like Bijan Robinson. You guys know this. You've known this since the NFL draft. So 1.6 feels like a bargain for me. But interesting here. J.J. Chase, pretty typical. C-Mac Eckler, I'm not going to say not typical. I mean, I love both those guys that, in the top 6 and the top 5 as well. But we got Kelsey at the 1.5 tonight. And then Bijan at the 1.6. Now 3 wide receivers off the board. A.J. Brown gone before Tyreek and Cooper Kupp. So I feel like naturally Tyreek Hill is going to fall back like in mocks right now. A spot or two just because of the investigation and everything. But, I don't know if it's really going to impact his season at all. CeeDee Lamb gone at the 1.10. Barkley gone at the 1.11. And we shall move right along with Box and the Jack at the 1.12, which will take us into the second round. All right, let's see who's in the live chat. Let me know how you guys are doing. Hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping, guys. Taylor, hello, hello. Marco, what's going on? Thomas, what's up? Yeah, this draft did fill very quickly. Friday night, I guess people are hanging out, wanting to mock. And I mean, it's, we're getting to that point in the off season where these mocks are going to start filling quicker and quicker. By the time August is here, it's just going to be ridiculous. By the time I post the mocks, they will fill like in about 30 seconds. So appreciate that, Taylor. I will fill you guys in on details about everything that I've got going on when I can. Godfather, hello, hello. Andrea, what's going on? Shane, what's up, what's up? Senior Cinnabone in the house. What's going on, everybody? How are we doing tonight? Thank you guys for being here. All right, second round kicks off with 3 wide receivers in Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown with Jonathan Taylor off the board at the 2.4. I still like JT, mid, beginning the second round. Olave gone at the 2.5. So far, 1 tight end, and there's your first quarterback in Jalen Hurts off the board at the 2.6. I feel like lately I've had a tendency to want to draft running back right after drafting Bijan. I just think there's a lot of good names available, but I just generally want to go wide receiver in the second round and then once again in the third round for majority of my builds. So I'm just going to go with Waddle here. I mean, we talked about Waddle earlier in the week, and I just feel like he continues to be a good value. I mean, I can see why he's being drafted after guys like Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson, and, veterans like Diggs and Adams, and, guys like Olave, for example. But I just feel like Waddle, after the season he had last year, isn't really getting the exact respect he should be getting. I mean, your wide receiver 8 in fantasy football last year, just over 1,300 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. I mean, Tua loves him. Tyreek Hill's in trouble, which probably isn't going to matter. But, I just like Waddle end of the second round quite a bit. But, yeah, a lot of good running backs available there. I mean, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Tony Pollard, Breece Hall, or Ramondre Stevenson. So it's definitely tempting to go, if you have an early first-round pick and you do select a running back, it's definitely tempting to go running back again in the second round. What's up, Burger Dog? Good to see you. Hello, hello. Guys, hit that like button for me if you haven't done so already. Let's try and get as many likes on the stream as possible. Andrea, good here on a rainy night. Yeah, been super, super rainy where I live. It's been raining all week. It's supposed to continue to rain. It's just like off and on. Like as soon as you think it's going to stop, it just starts raining again. Or if it does actually stop, like within an hour, it starts raining again. So I feel you there. It's been awful. Chase says, I wanted Waddle. Higgins was a panic pick. I mean, I think Higgins is another guy who is kind of naturally being underrated going into the season as well. Has been a top 28 wide receiver in each of his 3 seasons. So it's like, Higgins is always very solid. And, at the end of the day, right, 1,000 receiving yards last year, 7 touchdowns. Like, that's not... let's look at the receptions, though. 75 receptions. So comparing him to Waddle, right, 75 receptions, Waddle just did a little bit more with it. Like I said, over 1,300 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're that far apart. He's still the wide receiver 2 on a phenomenal offense, and I don't think he's going anywhere by any means this coming season, at least. So, all right, who do I want here? Because there are a lot of names I like. But I'm just going to go DJ Moore. It's pretty early for DJ Moore, but you look at the available wide receivers, DK Metcalf, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Hopkins, McLaurin. There are reasons for me to want to go DJ Moore over all those guys as Jahmyr Gibbs is selected. I like Gibbs in this range as well, but I'm kind of going hero running back here with Bijan early, then kind of holding off. So, I mean, DJ Moore is my favorite wide receiver available, so I'll take him. DK Metcalf, very, very close. Majority of these mocks, I'm taking Metcalf there, but I'm starting to get a little bit more hesitant on DK Metcalf, which I can't believe I'm saying because I've been such a Metcalf believer, like season after season, like advocating for DK Metcalf in fantasy. But now with JSN there, Metcalf's going to do his thing, don't get me wrong. I just feel like the ceiling might be a little bit capped between the targets here between Lockett, Metcalf, and JSN. But then once again, it could be a good thing for Metcalf, who will just be open more because there's more good wide receivers on the team. So we'll see. But, I mean, Metcalf's still on the board as Amari Cooper, the next wide receiver, gone with a little bit of a run at the running back position. Gibbs, Jacobs, Dobbins, ETN in the third, followed by 2 quarterbacks mixed in there as well with Mahomes and Allen. So 2 tight ends off the board in Kelsey and Mandrews, 3 quarterbacks so far in Hurts, Mahomes, and Allen. And into the 4th round we go. We've got Kenneth Walker off the board. I love Walker's value right now. I've been talking about this a lot since Walker's ADP has, kind of fallen back since the draft. And I think Kenneth Walker will probably move up in ADP the closer we get to August, but especially if you guys are doing best ball entries, underdog entries, just keep snagging up Kenneth Walker because I think he's going to have a very, very solid season. All right, there goes Dameon Pierce, followed by DK Metcalf finally. JSC, what's going on? Hello, hello. Dude, you're good. No worries at all. I mean, it's been the off season. Things are going to start heating up here shortly. But we appreciate you anytime that you can come through to the streams. And it is all good my dude. Alrighty. Good to see you, man. What's up? What's up? Oh, I am on the clock. I should probably make a selection. So Metcalf, London, Watson gone. All good values. I'm just reaching. I'm just getting the guys I want tonight. So it's early for Ayuk, but and you guys have heard me talk about this. Oh man, I drafted Ayuk before Debo too. It's gonna be someone really angry with this draft tonight. But Ayuk is the guy I want from that offense right now. I mean, there's a couple running backs here. I mean, but nobody that I felt like really drafting over a wide receiver that I believe in. I mean, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Alexander Madison, Miles Sanders, I do like. Dalvin Cook, DeAndre Swift, your top available running backs. Other wide receivers who are on the board, Jerry Jeudy, Debo, Keenan Allen, D-Hop, who just went, McLaurin, Godwin, Pittman. I want Ayuk, and I don't feel bad about that. I don't. I could have gone with an elite tight end. Some pretty good quarterbacks available, but that's the guy I want. I don't feel bad about it. I really don't. When you break down the stats last year between Ayuk and Debo, I'm not against Debo. He's banged up at times last year. Don't get me wrong. I think Debo's going to be fine. But I just think he's still a risky selection when you look at how he finished last year as a wide receiver 40 overall. Missed 4 games total, but only scored twice last year. So, well, that's not true. 2 receiving touchdowns. But when you break down what Brandon Ayuk did last year, and I'm going to continue to preach about Brandon Ayuk, just over 1,000 receiving yards, 8 receiving touchdowns, 114 targets, 78 receptions. Just overall, I'm just a big fan. So Brock Purdy, really started around week 13. When you look at Brandon Ayuk's stats to finish the year, there are some down games there. 3.9 against Seattle in week 15. I remember, gosh, it's an ugly game for Ayuk. But other than that, pretty solid, 9.6, 13.7, 13.1, 26.7, 9.9. So some down games, don't get me wrong. A lot of good games earlier on in the year, but give me the wide receiver 15 from last season at the 4.7 all year long. It's a crowded offense, don't get me wrong. I like Ayuk. All right, enough about that. Jeudy, Hopkins, Allen, McLaurin off the board. Lamar Jackson wraps up the 4th round. Into the 5th we go with Aaron Jones, Joe Burrow. There's Debo. And 2 more selections here until I pick. All right, oh man, there are quite a few players that I like right here. There goes Herbert. Yeah, I think if Fields was sitting there for me, I'd take him. I'll go T-Law. I'm not upset about that, but yeah, I just think if I have the potential, it's not like I really go after stacks super aggressively and redraft formats or anything other than best ball, really. But I do feel like if I have the opportunity to select Fields and DJ Moore in a 1-quarterback redraft league going into next year, I'm definitely going to be doing so. And I mean, 2 guys I've talked about all off season, right? Andrew says I go after the guys I want. Yeah, and you generally feel much, much better about your draft if you're just going out and getting players that you have conviction in. ADP is a guide, right? It's never something that you ultimately have to live by, right? You just go out, get the players you like, build what is in your mind a good overall roster, and you just can't really feel bad about your draft if you do so, Cinnabon says, I just don't touch San Francisco's offense. I mean, that's fair, right? I mean, maybe outside of Christian McCaffrey, it's fair. It's a unique offense, and at times it doesn't, always offer the best upside in fantasy. But I think when you look at C-Mac, Ayuk, and Kittle, and I still think Debo at the right value. Obviously, they're all going to bring something to the table in terms of potential consistency, right? Emil, you should do a show on dynasty trades and tips. I think that's probably something I'll get more into next year. But I feel like I still need to get through this first Dynasty season before I can really give good feedback overall. You know, outside of just showing you guys like what are the current trades I'm considering and what are the current trades that are going on in our Dynasty leagues, right? All right, let's see here. And I am still, for those of you guys in the Dynasty leagues, I'm still planning on picking a date to where we can all sit down and go over the Dynasty teams on live stream. I'm thinking might do it on Sunday. Cinnabon says, we all do except when you get into war, John. Have you had a chance to go on vacation? No. But we just plan our plan our vacations at weird times. Like we're going to the beach in October, and then we're going to part of North Carolina in September. So like we just kind of go when things aren't as crowded, as busy. But no, I'm just chilling right now, doing the work grind and everything. Albert, hello. Thank you for coming out tonight. What's up? How we doing tonight? Okay, into the 6th round we go. So a lot of quarterbacks in the 5th round there. A lot of good quarterbacks as well. You know, I'd rather sit back and wait till the 5th round for Burrow, Herbert, Fields, or Lawrence. As much as I like the other 4 quarterbacks off the board, and Allen, Mahomes, Hurts, and Jackson, I'd rather just sit. And I mean, Lamar at the 4.12 is basically the 5th round, right? But I'd rather just sit back and wait and load up at running back, wide receiver, whatever it's going to be, combination of both. And just move along from there. You know, I think you're getting very, very close in terms of overall value. I mean, like, honestly, I think any of these guys who won in the 5th round could have a good enough season to where they're finishing just behind or even in front of any of those guys there in that kind of top tier. So I'd rather not kind of reach for them, in my opinion. You know, like I'm still kind of teeter-tottering. Like, do I want to? I'm going to take my boy Rashad White off the board here, but do I want to draft a quarterback earlier on, starting to lean towards, or do I just want to not care about quarterback like I did in a lot of builds last year, and just wait till the end of my draft to get 2 quarterbacks who give me a shot, and then rotate throughout the year? You know, I'm back and forth right now. But yeah, I mean, like, for this team, if I could have got Fields there, I think that would have been perfect. I'm okay with T-Law. I think Lawrence can have a great year. So we'll see what happens. Spence, what's up, man? Where are you going in NC? I don't exactly know. So when we go to the beach, we do go to North Carolina. We go to Emerald Isle. But yeah, we're doing like a trip to there's a big zoo. One of the biggest zoos in the United States, I think, in North Carolina. That is where we're going. We're going to take the toddler. If I was thinking about this earlier, she's not really a baby anymore. She's a toddler. But I just still call her the baby. We are taking the toddler to a zoo. You know, I don't make the plans. I just do as told. Thomas, do you know if you can do mocks on Yahoo like Sleeper? You can, but it's not. I don't know if it's changed, but to my understanding, it's not like a Sleeper mock where you can set it up, invite people, and start it. I might be wrong about that. It's more of they have like an online system where they're just running mock drafts, and then like if you and I wanted to enter a mock draft together, we'd have to go through, find one with the particular setting that we want, and then join before it fills. It's just a little bit different overall, but you can certainly do so. It's a tough pick for me right here. I like Dotson off the board there. There's a couple players I like right here. But I'm going to go with JSN. Give me a rookie wide receiver. I mean, they've been doing so well the past couple of years. I'll take that as a potential flex option for this little squad we got going tonight. 2 rookies on the team, Bijan and JSN. Let's see. Yeah, Cinnabon is basically right. All fantasy sites have mocks. Some of them like don't open until August. Some of them open in July. But yeah, regardless of what app you use or whatever, there should be some sort of mock uh, opportunity for you throughout the off season. Tom says, I'm trying to get my league to switch to Sleeper. I mean, I do think overall Sleeper is the best app to use right now. I actually like Yahoo. I would put Yahoo as number 2. So if you guys are using Yahoo, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I really like Yahoo's layout. I've talked about this a lot before. I think Yahoo's seriously the next best option. So and it's just so simplistic. It's actually kind of a breath of fresh air. I would not use the NFL Fantasy app ever, not even if your life depended on it. Maybe that's a little drastic, but I just think they have an awful app. ESPN's okay. It's really not that bad. But there's more and more options than there's ever been, and I really do feel like Sleeper has become the norm for a lot of leagues, and it's definitely the best. It's gained popularity because it's definitely the best app for dynasty leagues, obviously. Anybody here in the Scott Fish Bowl? I am not. Let's see here. Spencer says, I'll go to Wilmington. Oh, that's where you lived. Oh, that's where my coworker's from. Chase says, I don't like my Pacheco pick, especially with me having Kelsey. I wanted White too. I mean, I like White more, but I like my boy Pacheco quite a bit, so I don't think it's a bad pick there. I mean, Chiefs have a good offense. You'll be all right, man. But yeah, I'd rather have White right now for sure. Give me Gibson here. We'll move right along. I like the way this team's coming out so far. Chase says you're reading my mind. I'm sorry. To be fair, I like Dotson. Like if I didn't get JSN there, I wanted Dotson. So I think Dotson was a great pick. So I kind of sniped you in the 6th. You kind of sniped me in the 7th, and then you go and get A-Chain. I think A-Chain's a great selection in the 8th round. So great minds think alike, Chase, right? Let's see. Cinnabon says, my league does NFL Fantasy. I actually kind of like it. Andrew says, I play on NFL and Sleeper. Yeah, I've just had so many bad experiences with the NFL app. But I have used it in the past. Like, one of my primary leagues, that's what we always used. Until last year when I finally got them to switch it to Sleeper. But, I mean, listen, you don't have to really use any app. I think they're all fine at the end of the day. One of the first ever live streams I did on this channel was while I was live streaming my draft for one of my home leagues, and it was through the NFL fantasy website, and like the whole thing crashed on me while I was streaming. It's awesome. It definitely is still somewhere on this YouTube channel if you guys are very, very bored. Anyways. JSC, would you rather draft Alexander Madison in round 4 or Dalvin Cook in round 6? I'd probably take the value there and go Cook in round 6. I still don't... when Madison... when Cook got released and Madison's ADP was going to rise... he went at 5.10 tonight, but I think the last mock we ran, he went at like the beginning of the 4th, for example. Like I don't like Madison in that range, and I think he should be kind of closer to like that DeAndre Swift, in between like where Swift and Connor went tonight. And I'm still surprised that he has moved up so drastically in ADP at the end of the day. So. Don't get me wrong, like I do think there's definitely potential for a good season there, but I just personally, I don't want to take him that early. So I guess my answer is Dalvin Cook. He went at the 7.3 tonight, which like I like him a little bit more in that range than I do like in the 6th round. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite there on Madison with how drastically his ADP has risen, but. Yeah, I understand why people like him, but it's just not a run-first offense at the end of the day. And, I mean, Cook had a good year last year. So I understand. I mean, Cook was RB11 last year. So if you can basically swap that with Madison, I get it. I just personally don't want to draft him that early. And, most of my builds are pretty running back light as is, where or at least towards the first half of the draft. So it's just not. It doesn't feel like it's in the stars for me. Is that a saying? Let's see. Cinnabon says I wouldn't do either. I don't know how Madison will handle a full season, and Dalvin might not be a featured back. And I think that's a good point. Like, we don't really know at the end of the day where Dalvin Cook's going to be, what his role is going to be. Is he going to be the Dalvin Cook we've seen in the past? Is he going to be in a committee? I think he'll probably be more of in a committee type situation, so we'll see. Thomas, I got to start figuring out how to mock on Yahoo in case they don't switch to Sleeper. Get that practice in. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty easy. There's like I don't know if Yahoo has opened it for the year yet, but you basically, like, they just have like a mock draft area. It's like a mock draft. I think they call it a draft room. And it'll have like different formats, though. So one thing you want to pay attention to, like standard, half PPR, full PPR, 10-team, 12-team, super flex, 1 QB, whatever. And you'll just have to hop into what you actually want to, what format you want to draft in. So, J-Dubs, what's up, bro? Madison was a good value a month ago. Yeah, I agree. Like, I liked Madison when we could take him. I really liked him when we could take him like in that range of like James Cook and A.J. Dillon, Brian Robinson. And then I didn't really mind him when he was in that tier, like in between Monty and Kamara, looking at the draft board tonight. But yeah, I think as time has gone on, it's just not going to be a move that I'm going for this season. So we'll see, though. We'll see. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I think he can certainly have a good season, but it's just not, based off ADP, something that I'm going to be going for this year. But hey, you know what I say. Trust your gut. All right, interesting draft for me tonight. A little light at wide receiver, but I'm good everywhere else. I usually go for like 4 running backs. I like this running back room, actually. And I'll probably wrap up at wide receiver. Might throw another running back in here, though. We'll see. We'll see. Shane says, I'm mocking on Yahoo now. One of my home leagues is on Yahoo. Yeah. Yeah, I've played in a league for a long time that's always been through Yahoo. And I will be in that league again this year unless something drastically changes. So, yeah. I think Yahoo's a great overall platform. Don't get me wrong. Gibbs, to be honest, if I don't get Gibbs having access, Monty in that Lions rushing offense is ideal for me. I really like Gibbs quite a bit. But based off of ADP, I mean, this is something that I always talk about, something that I was really heavy on last offseason, is like when you're looking at whether it's a wide receiver room or a running back room, you have, like this year in most mocks, maybe when I'm not mocking, you have Debo going in the 4th and then Ayuk going in the 6th round, or you have Gibbs going in the 3rd, then Monty going in the 6th. I'm going to go for the better value. I'm going to take David Montgomery in the 6th. Another good example, once again, as long as you're not drafting with me, but definitely tonight. You have Calvin Ridley at the 3.3, then Christian Kirk at the 5.9. I'm going to take Christian Kirk. I'm going to go for the better value overall. So I would say, this year, Monty and Gibbs are going to be a good example of that. And, don't get me wrong, it doesn't always work out that way. But, like Terry McLaurin in the 4th, too. I'm not out on McLaurin, but I'd rather take Jahan Dotson in the 7th. Just a better overall value. Okie doke. I was not prepared for this pick at all. Not even close. So, whoever I pick here, I don't really want. There's quite a few players I almost picked right there, but give me Mooney. Why not? Go Bears. Thomas says, did y'all hear Cook say he's down for a split role for a chip? Yeah. I mean, he should be at this point, right? We'll see what happens. I mean, he could seriously just end up literally anywhere. So, I just, at the end of the day, I don't like these off-season fiascos. You know, it's just back and forth. Speculation. We'll see what happens. Cinnabon says, let me some Mooney. Yeah, I mean, I do like Mooney in the 11th round. Don't get me wrong. But now I realize that I have Mooney and DJ Moore, which I generally would not do. So, and I have Komet. Oh, my gosh. I really should have gone for Justin Fields. I'm just kind of going best available player. I haven't really been thinking about my total roster, so I would not really take 3 receiving options from most offenses, I'll say. And even like offenses like the Dolphins, Eagles, whatever, I still get a little queasy about it. So, Ramon, what are some good rookies to target late? I was able to get Olave and Wilson super late this season. I mean, there's certainly a lot of names. You know, for purely looking at wide receivers, I like Jonathan Mingo. He goes in the 10th round tonight. Rashee Rice goes in the 11th. And Jaden Reed goes in the 10th. Those would probably be the guys I would say have the potential to elevate themselves into a season that is going to be very, very fantasy relevant. But I also like Jalen Hyatt, Marvin Mims. I still think there's a Josh Downs, as well as Tank Dell, right? Like, you got 2 guys coming into the league, as Tank Dell's off the board, with rookie quarterbacks, and I just think naturally there's going to be some sort of chemistry developing between those tandems. So I could be wrong there, but I think those guys are worth a shot. You know, especially if they're just like your final draft selection, you know. Thomas says, Tank Dell. Cinnabon says, I know it's not super late, but I really like Quentin Johnston. Yeah, I do like Quentin Johnston. Like, you guys may have noticed in more of the off-air mocks and just coincidentally where I was drafting from, like, we've got a team tonight with Quentin Johnston and Zay Flowers. Johnston at the 7.11, Flowers at the 8.2. Addison goes at the 7.9. I mean, guys, I think all of those players, even JSN going at the 7.6 tonight, like, it's not super late, but it's still pretty late in the draft where those guys can be, flex options for you, or players that you can move to the bench if you need to for part of the season if they're not entirely consistent. And I just think all of those guys are worth a shot. I mean, we're just seeing more and more wide receivers, rookie wide receivers, I should say, turn around and be fantasy relevant faster than we've ever seen. So, let's see. Chase has wanted Jones again. I'm sorry, bro. Sorry. Let me shrink so you guys can see the draft board. Yeah, I could not go Gabe Davis. I mean, really, I still like Zay Jones. I liked him all offseason, but with me having Trevor Lawrence, it at least gives me a chance at a stack. Kat says, I like Jaden Reed and Roshan. I like Roshan Johnson a lot. I think he could end up being the starter at running back for the Bears by the end of the season. Chase, hope I never draft next to you in future leagues. JSC, Waddle or Higgins? I go Waddle all day long. We kind of talked about this at the beginning of the stream. It's still close. Waddle just did a lot more. I mean, they had the same exact amount of receptions at 75 last year. Waddle just did a lot more with those receptions at the end of the day. So it's still close. 2 very good offenses. There's still a locked in number 2 target in each of their respective offenses. But, yeah, I will go. I'll go Waddle. Penguin. Okay. Who do I want to draft next? I could take another tight end, go another running back, go another wide receiver, put someone behind T-Law if I wanted to. I mean, I could really pick anybody here, and they would offer some sort of value. So, Odell Beckham's available. Can always pick Odell. But let's just take another rookie wide receiver in Jalen Hyatt, because why not? I do like Hyatt as like an upside pick. I was thinking about going Jerome Ford there as well. I mean, having that, kind of handcuff at the end of your draft and redraft at the running back position certainly never hurts. Walito, what's good, bro? Hello, hello. Let's see. Three Walketeers, do you like a 2-1 Tyreek stack this year? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. There's only so many offenses that I really feel comfortable going with the top two options, and they'd certainly be one of those offenses. So I don't have a problem with it personally. Obviously, both those guys in the top 10 last year. I don't see any reason why they can't finish there again. I do think Waddle is obviously the better value, but Hill is, not really someone that you can measure against. So, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. If you want to start wide receiver heavy, not at all. I mean, honestly, I think you're getting a player who's going to bring that upside, obviously, with Tyreek Hill on a weekly basis, a high ceiling. Then you just get that great consistency out of Waddle in full PPR formats, but also a pretty damn good ceiling on top of that. So, all right, guys, let me know if you want me to take a look at your team. Let's do some team reviews. Cats at the 1.9. What's up, Matthew Stafford? I miss Catterick Mahomes, but I like the cat. I like Cat Stafford. It's a good mix up here. All right, Danny Dimes. I can live with Danny Dimes. That's fine. Waller, can live with that. I still think I want to draft a second tight end behind Waller just with the injury history. And even with Daniel Jones, I might want a second quarterback around as well. But I can live with it. JT, Jacobs, Penny, Roshan, Foreman. Redraft, I'm 110% okay with this running back room. 2 studs. Hopefully Jacobs doesn't hold out. 3 kind of handcuff guys, including 2 on the same team. I'm fine with that. Kupp, Metcalf, Kirk, Deontay, Jordan Addison, Juju. I can live with these wide receivers for sure. Yeah. Good little streak between the 4.4 and 7.9 in terms of value for you, and I'm fine with Kupp at the 1.9. A good team. Starting Jones and Waller, JT and Jacobs, as long as he doesn't hold out. Kupp, Metcalf, flexing, Kirk, and Johnson. You have Addison on the bench. Juju on the bench. Probably not a great ceiling there, but full PPR, probably okay in the 10th. Then Penny, Roshan, and Foreman on the bench. I think all bring value in redraft. So I like this team, man. How do you feel about it? All right, let's see. Walito, what's up, dude? All right, we got Burrow, QB, and Njoku at tight end. Good values on both those guys. I mean, I think Burrow at 5.2 is great. Pollard, Hall, Akers, Mitchell, Singletary. I mean, I love the upside of Pollard and Hall. I think they'll be fine. I mean, obviously, we do want to monitor those offseason recoveries, but I think they'll be okay. 2 good offenses. So. Chase, McLaurin, Evans, Cooks, Rashid Shaheed, who I've been really eating up at the end of redraft mocks, but he's not going to be a guy you can get in the 13th, 14th round, whatever. The 11th round is far more appropriate. Romeo Dobbs, yeah. So you're starting Burrow and Njoku, Pollard and Hall, Chase, McLaurin. Then in your flex, Akers, Evans, Cooks, Mitchell, Shaheed, Singletary, Dobbs. You have plenty of options. You got a good little bench here. I'm fine with this team. Box and the Jack. What's going on? Watson and Goff. I like the quarterback room. Goddard. Redraft format. I love Goddard. I'm surprised. I don't know if I'm too surprised, but I just feel like he's got such a good ADP right now. if he didn't miss these games, he probably would have finished a top 6, top 5 tight end last year. So I just love where Goddard's at right now. ETN, Sanders, Harris, McKinnon, Kendre Miller. Redraft purposes, this running back room is fine. Obviously, some people have some concerns over Travis Etienne, but I think you got a lot of good late round value. Harris, McKinnon, even Kendre Miller. I like Sanders in the 5th round too. Diggs, Adams, Cooper, Godwin, and Rashee Rice. I can live with that. Cooper, Godwin, good values tonight overall. And I like the dart throw with Rashee Rice towards the end too. So you're starting Watson, starting Goddard, Etienne and Sanders, Diggs, Adams, flexing Cooper and Godwin. Yeah, there's, people who have some reservations around some of these players, but I think your bench looks good as well. A little bit heavier at running back, but, you can get through like that. Yeah. A good little team here tonight, man. Reverse, where you at? Here we go, 1.3. All right, Prescott at quarterback. I don't have a problem with Prescott at quarterback. Some people do. I don't have a problem with it. Draft second QB if you are worried. Freiermuth and Jawan Johnson, tight ends look completely fine. Freiermuth is my boy. C-Mac, Connor, Cook, Jamal Williams, Wilson. You're led by C-Mac, so you can just kind of rotate that RB2, but I do feel like with this running back room, that's probably what you'd end up doing. But Connor and Cook, pretty good guys to do that with. Williams and Wilson, perfectly fine on the bench. All right, wide receivers, Devonta, Ridley, Keenan Allen, Debo, and Sky Moore. Okay. So you're starting Prescott and Freiermuth, C-Mac and Connor. Smith, Ridley, flexing Keenan Allen, flexing Debo. Keenan Allen's so interesting because when he was healthy last year, he was pretty great. He just had he still has such a bad stigma around him because of the first half of the season. And, he's 31, going into his 11th year. But you really look at how consistent he was in full PPR when he was healthy. I don't know if I really have too much of an issue with Keenan Allen. Especially as him being somebody who you're going to be playing in the flex. So, yeah. Team looks solid to me, man. Chase. We're sniping each other all night, man. All right, Fields at quarterback. I like that. Kelsey at tight end. Say no more. Harris, Pacheco, A-Chain, Warren, Fournette. I really like Harris, Pacheco, and A-Chain where you got him. I understand why you went Warren and Fournette, but they don't really excite me right now. Warren's a handcuff. Fournette is just a big old question mark, but it's a question that could be answered as the offseason progresses. Higgins, Judy, Dotson, Rondell Moore, Jaden Reed, and Gabe Davis. So, ultimately, a little lighter receiver for the first half of the draft, but I think you came out okay, especially since I was taking out the guys you wanted. But you're starting Fields and Kelsey, Harris and Pacheco, Higgins and Judy, Dotson and the flex, and your second flex, you've got everyone else on this team, so someone would come in there. So I think things turned out pretty good for you. How do you feel about it, man? Taylor, what did we get into? What's going on with you, man? All right, Lamar at quarterback. No surprise there. And Conquell and Greg Dulcich. A little late round tight end action. I like the tight end room. Chubb, Stevenson, Aaron Jones, Zeke. Man, imagine having those 4 running backs last year. Running backs are fine. JJ, Pittman, Lockett, Bateman, Elijah Moore, and DJ Chark. Yeah. I can live with this team. So you're starting Lamar and whichever tight end you want. Chubb and Stevenson. JJ and Pittman. Flexing Lockett and Aaron Jones. Lockett and Bateman. Lockett and Elijah Moore. You got Zeke hiding down there. Yeah, I like this team tonight. How do you feel about it, man? All right, let's see here. High upside, low risk. What's up, man? All right, Herbie fully loaded. I like Anthony Richardson behind a quarterback like Herbert or Lawrence or Burrow, to someone who feels like they're going to give you a lot of consistency, so I like Richardson here as well. Andrews at tight end. Eckler, Henry, Cook, Robinson. I'm okay with just 4 running backs in redraft. You're going to have plenty of opportunities on the waiver wire to snatch up those handcuff guys who become relevant when injuries pop up, whatever it may be. So I'm okay with this running back room. D-Hop, Mike Williams, George Pickens, Michael Thomas, and Adam Thielen. Then you got Dalton Schultz sprinkled in there. Why not? Yeah. I mean, some concerns about your wide receivers in terms of injuries and age and whatnot, but I could certainly see this team working out. I mean, you're starting Herbert and Andrews, Eckler and Henry, Hopkins, Mike Williams, probably flexing George Pickens, and that second flex, I mean, Cook, Robinson, Thomas, Thielen. I'm not crazy about Michael Thomas or Adam Thielen, but I understand why you drafted them. All right, let's see here. Marco at the 1.11 says, try a different strat tonight with hero wide receiver, kind of like how it ended up. Got a great tight end, great backs, 2 upside rookies, safe flex plays. So Allen and Kittle, I got elite quarterback, elite tight end. Barkley, Walker, Monty, Tajay Spears. I probably would have drafted one more running back earlier on. Spears, still a handcuff in my eyes. But I like Barkley, Walker, Monty. Garrett Wilson, Quinn Johnson, Zay Flowers, Allen Lazard, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Boyd, Jacoby Myers. Yeah, so if you do go light wide receiver, you're going to end up with a lot of guys in this type of category, which isn't the end of the world, but you just got to think, like, I like Allen Lazard a lot at his ADP, but, to be realistic, I don't think his ceiling is crazy high. But you do have Wilson. Like, you have both parts of that offense, in my opinion. So, but yeah, guys like Sutton, Boyd, Myers, I think will be fine in full PPR, but, 10 to 14 points on a weekly basis is kind of what you're hoping for there. But you get a lot of upside in Quinn Johnson and Zay Flowers. So, like, on weeks where Sutton, Boyd, Myers, Lazard are scoring and their ceiling's higher, like, this team could actually fare pretty well. I actually like this team. I do think it was an interesting strategy. I think it kind of worked out, actually. Andrea, the 1.10. Rodgers at QB, Ingram at tight end. A little, I don't want to say early for Rodgers. I guess it wasn't too early, but it just felt early. But I think Rodgers is going to have a good year, so I don't mind it. I like Ingram and redraft. You're fine there. Dobbins, Pierce, Madison, Algier. I'm okay with this. Algier's basically a handcuff, but Dobbins, Pierce, Madison. I feel like I still like Sanders, White, Pacheco, even Swift and Akers over Madison, though. But that's just me. We talked a lot about that tonight, obviously. CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Hollywood, Burks, Mingo, Collins, Gallup. So starting Rodgers and Ingram, Dobbins and Pierce, Lamb, St. Brown, Hollywood, and then you're probably flexing Madison, but you got Burks, Mingo, Collins, Gallup, Algier on the bench. So team looks solid. I think that's definitely a good build to go into the season with. Cinnabon, I'm sorry. Stop liking the values that you like. Well, somehow we always get back-to-back spots in these drafts, Tamo. It's rigged. It's what it is. Taylor Gang, what's up, bro? Hello, hello. I'm sad the Superflex draft is over as well. All right, Klondike, what'd you do tonight, man? Cinnabon, I am not trading you Fryermuth ever. All right, Hurts at QB, Pitts and Kincaid. You're good there on both accounts, quarterback and tight end. Gibbs, Swift, Javonte, Pirine, Chase Brown, and Jerome Ford. You've certainly got plenty of options at running back, plenty of depth here. You'd figure it out. A.J. Brown, Christian Watson, Tony, and J-Mo. I would not be... I would want... I think you could have stopped at Gibbs, Swift, Javonte, and Pirine, or replaced Pirine and gone Chase Brown and Jerome Ford, and sprinkled in 2 wide receivers, especially with Tony's injury concerns, Watson having to change at quarterback, and then J-Mo missing a couple games. You're in a position where you're starting Hurts, Gibbs, Swift, A.J. Brown, Watson, then your 2 flex spots are going to be pretty open. Like it could be a running back, could be a wide receiver. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I would like to see, with you going double tight end and drafting, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs. I would at least even that out to where you're drafting 5 wide receivers, 5 running backs would be my only note here. But yeah, with Tony's injury concerns and J-Mo missing time at the very least, Jordan Love is more of an argument. I would want another wide receiver on this team for sure. Let's see. Would you trade JJ for 3 firsts and JT in a Dynasty 1 quarterback league? It definitely depends on the rest of your roster. It definitely depends at the end of the day. It's a pretty big haul. It depends on what the rest of your wide receivers look like. It's a pretty decent haul for JJ, don't get me wrong, but this is probably right. There's this thing you got to think about, right? In Dynasty, like each year, there's going to be 1, maybe 2 players that you can just put on the trade block, and you're going to get ridiculous offers where people are offering you 3 first rounders and a player of JT's caliber. So, if you feel like you'd rather have the picks, I'm not against that. I think it's a fair trade for JJ. But it depends on a lot of aspects of your roster. If you're a contender, if you're rebuilding. If you're rebuilding, then you probably do it. But, it also, at the end of the day, just depends on how you personally value Justin Jefferson as well and how important he is to your roster. Is it a fair trade? Yeah, I mean, it's 3 first rounders, so. Cinnabon says probably, but if they're late first, then maybe I wouldn't. Cat says smash, accept that. Cat says unless it's clearly the best team in the league, that's a good point as well. Yeah, and I mean, it just depends on your total roster. What does your wide receiver room look like? Are you going to be able to contend without JJ? Are you rebuilding, et cetera, et cetera? I think at the end of the day, it's a fair enough trade. But I don't know if you'll be able to trade Justin Jefferson for that same haul next year. So, tough decision. Draft of the night. I kind of like Cat's team tonight. I mean, a lot of good teams we went over for sure. Then we're going to go with Cat Stafford tonight, though. As long as Danny Dimes doesn't suck and Waller stays healthy, I like this team. So there's some debate there. Jones, Waller, JT, and you got to have Jacobs not hold out. Jacobs, Kupp, Metcalf, Kirk, Johnson. I like that starting lineup. Addison, Penny, Juju, Roshan, Foreman on the bench. I like that team. Senior Cinnabon a very close second for best team of the night at the 1.13. Let's roast my team, guys. T-Law and Komet. I like both those guys a lot. I'd be happy with those dudes on my fantasy roster. Bijan, Rashad White, Antonio Gibson, A.J. Dillon. I will say I love this running back room. A lot of people probably don't. But like when I'm putting together a team, this is the type of running back room I want. I love Rashad White. Please, if you're out there, don't draft Rashad White this year if I'm drafting with you. And I love his value. I hope his ADP doesn't drastically shoot up. And you guys know I've liked him for quite some time throughout the offseason, but I continue to like him. I like Gibson and Dillon and their values right now too. Waddle, DJ Moore, Ayuk. Like you can debate if I reach for DJ Moore and Ayuk. I'm just going to go get my guys, whatever. JSN I like in the 7th. Wouldn't mind Dotson there. Mooney, Zay Jones, Jalen Hyatt, I think perfectly fine values where I drafted them. So be starting T-Law and Komet, Bijan and White, Waddle, DJ Moore, Ayuk, JSN in the flex, or Gibson, Dillon, Mooney, Jones, Hyatt. So, yeah. I like this team. Went out and got my guys. Can't be upset about it. Emil, John, trade me Olave in League 2. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. Yeah, overall, I'm keeping my guys for now. For now. Thomas, I said Senior Cinnabons was 1.13, not mine. Not mine. Senior Cinnabon is the ghost team, not on the board. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to be up for work in the morning. So, you guys know what to do on the way out. Hit that like button, please, so people see my stream. Hit that subscribe button if you guys tuned in, because it's the off season. I'm not gaining any subscribers. And thank you guys for being here tonight. I truly appreciate you guys hanging out, spending part of your night here on my fantasy football channel and talking some fantasy with me, as well as hanging out. And that'll do it. Boxing the Jack, Andrea, Katz, Thomas, Emil, Senior Cinnabon. I don't know how to say our new friend here. Xuri. Klondike. Taylor Gang. Walito. Marco. Reverse. High Upside. Chase. Three Walketeers. J-Dubs. JSC. Spencer. Booger Dog. Godfather. Taylor. We've got too many Taylors in here. And everyone else you hung out, everyone else you stopped by, thank you guys for being here tonight. Everyone have a great start to your weekend. Everyone be safe. Love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Appreciate you guys so much. And I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. With that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And